There we go. Okay, we're live now. Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the Virginia Woman in HPC. Sorry about that. I had to enable the, okay, I think that should be all good. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Virginia Woman in HPC. Today, we are really excited to be talking about the high performance computing landscape at the Women in HPC member institutions. Oops. The panelists that we're going to be that we're hosting today is Jeshri from George Mason, Carol Parrish from the University of Richmond, Jackie Huban from the University of Virginia, Mike Davies from VCU, Matt Brown from Virginia Tech, and Erin Walter from William and Mary. So if you are wondering who we are, can I move my slides here? Yes. So we are a group of 6 universities. We are total 7 institutions, and you will see that Beans is actually part of William and Mary, the university. But we are a group that we are committed to increasing diversity, equity, inclusion by promoting and encouraging, especially the participation and representation of women that are involved in HPC and also in other technological fields. And so we started this program almost a year ago, this May, and we hope to continue and to be able to add other institutions that are in the Virginia area to be part of this group. As I mentioned, the way how this meeting is going to work today, we have a panel. So we are going to give time to each one of the panelists to talk about their institutions, the HPC centers, what they are doing, the resources that they provide, and the main stakeholders that they provide services to. And then we're going to move into some questions that we have already prepared for the panelists, but we want to give priority to you, the audience, to be able to ask any questions that you may have. And we want to wrap things up with a small poll that we have available that we want to be able to get some information from you about the things that you're looking when it comes to HPC. And with that, I'm going to give the room to Jeshri.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Jeshri Sarma. I'm Director of Research Computing at Mason. The Office of Research Computing was created in 2012 with, and it was dual reporting. It is direct report to, oops.
Yes.
My slide changed. Okay.
Yes, sorry, Jeshri.
Sorry. It's dual reporting, direct report to the Vice President Research and a dotted line report to the CIO Information Technology Services. It started with a part-time director and 1 full-time user support staff. We have now grown to 1 full-time director, 2 user support staff, and 3 systems engineers who manage the infrastructure. The Argo cluster was built in 2013 with 35 nodes and then grew over the years to 90 plus node, has about 1,500 cores and 40 GPUs. The Hopper cluster, the phase 1, was commissioned in spring 2021 with 3,500 cores and 8 GPUs. The second phase, which is currently in beta testing mode, will have 6,000 cores and 105 GPUs, and we expect it to go in production by summer. Both the clusters do have high memory nodes. These clusters are available to all Mason researchers free of charge. And the Hopper cluster, we have installed the Open on Demand, which provides a browser-based GUI access, and thus making it more user-friendly for the users of the cluster. Storage, all cluster users are provided with a limited amount of storage when they start out, and any additional storage will have to be purchased. There is fast scratch storage access for HPC jobs. We also provide Linux virtual machines for our researchers who cannot use our cluster. Since our office supports all researchers at Mason, we do have some users who cannot use the cluster, so we support them by providing them with Linux virtual machines. And we support the Dataverse that is managed by the library. And the other services are GitLab and RedCap Survey Tool and Globus File Transfer. Every user who gets a new account has to attend a tutorial before they can submit their jobs on the cluster. This tutorial is mandatory and is offered twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we also offer it in case on other times when the users are available. This helps the new users transition from their laptops to the HPC cluster. We use the ticketing system to assist users who have problems using the cluster. The staff meet with them for, if they cannot solve the problem by just answering tickets, they do meet them virtually to handhold them and work through their problems. We are roughly about 1,200 tickets filed last year. The staff also assists with code optimization, software install, and we maintain a wiki which has how-tos for some of the various software that we install on the cluster. We are planning to offer carpentry workshops with a more HPC focus starting fall 2022. We have previously assisted in the more general carpentry workshops, which is offered by our library, like the Unix shell or Python. We have currently over 1,000 users on both our clusters, and we roughly have 70 unique users per month. Most of our users are from the College of Engineering and Computing, followed by the College of Science, followed by the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. We do have users from other academic units like the School of Business, the political scientists from Schar School, and researchers from the College of Health and Human Services. We just have such odd names for our academic units. I think I covered everything that I wanted to say, so I'm done.
Thank you, Jayshree. And
I wasn't timing.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Carol Parrish.
Carol, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. I said such brilliant words, but now it's all lost to the ether. So right, I'm Carol Parrish. I'm a faculty member in the chemistry department at the University of Richmond. I happen to be a computational chemist. I'm also working in the provost's office as the associate provost for academic integration. I'm really happy to be here today to tell you a little bit about the University of Richmond as well as HPC at UR. The University of Richmond is a research-intensive, predominantly undergraduate institution. We have about 4,000 students and approximately 500 faculty. We're located in Richmond, Virginia, a few miles from the center of downtown. VCU are our neighbors. We have a very large, at the University of Richmond, we have a very large contingent of computational faculty who mentor an even larger number of undergraduate students in departments as diverse as digital humanities, statistics, economics, data analytics, data science, mathematics, chemistry, physics, biology, and geographic information systems, or GIS. We've been a little late to establishing a centralized support for such computational work. Historically, our faculty, individual faculty obtained grants from NSF, NIH, other organizations to fund their individual research. So we had pockets of, we had actually very strong pockets of computational work. But in 2020, we made the institutional commitment to provide centralized compute support across campus in order to allow our faculty to spend more time doing research and training our students and less time providing their own system administrative or computational support. The first thing we did was to hire George Flanagan, our computational support specialist. Some of you know George. He comes to us with a long history of experience in IT, having worked in software development at the University of Richmond, as well as VCU, Capital One, Hewlett Packard, and Boeing military aircraft. Together, George and I support the faculty, and then the faculty are responsible for supporting their students. We also have one student intern who happens to be a woman. So between me, George, and our student, we are 66% women. We hope to keep that high level as we develop and as we grow. There are approximately 100 faculty involved in computational work at the University of Richmond, and about half of those people identify as women. And when George and I are considering the growth of the hardware or the software or purchases or policies or training, we work closely with a faculty advisory group that's a bit more than 50% women. Shortly after we hired George, we developed a funding model to support a shared centralized compute resource to purchase some hardware. We've built a budget model that contributes approximately 1/5 of the hardware costs each year over a 5-year period. This allows us funds then to repair and expand if necessary, and to replace every 5 years. Our centralized hardware has both shared community nodes as well as individual condo nodes, where faculty have contributed funds to purchase a particular node, to which they then have first priority for usage. When those condo nodes are not in use by the purchaser, they're available for community use. We currently have 18 shared and 12 condo nodes. Each node has 52 cores for a total of approximately 1,500 cores. And we have 18 GPUs, pretty high-end GPUs. Our nodes have varying degrees of memory, and we're using a shared storage model. With 52 cores, we thought it best not to invest in high-speed interconnects between the nodes, but we are using 40 gigabit per second interconnects between the storage and the compute nodes. And so far that has worked pretty well for us. As I mentioned earlier, we support a wide range of disciplines from economics to physics, and we will install any open source software. Faculty, though, are responsible for any commercial purchases. We use Slurm for fair share scheduling with priority for condo owners. And we've developed a pretty robust training program where we provide training in R and R Studio through the University of Richmond has a hub for faculty development, and we have an R and R Studio expert there, Andrew Bell, and he's been great at providing campus-wide support for those tools. And then in addition, George is a Python and Jupyter and Git expert. So between Andrew and George, we provide pretty robust training in R Studio, Python, Jupyter, and Git. Longer term, we're hoping to provide training for discipline-specific software. The pandemic has taught us that both synchronous and asynchronous training is really useful for both our faculty and our students. So we've taken that approach. One of the advantages of being late to the game is that you can learn from your colleagues who've gone before you. So George has developed some really wonderful electronic training materials, and we plan to supplement these with in-person workshops and one-on-one consultations. And so I think to sort of summarize our approach, the faculty are responsible for their domain knowledge, but George and the student and myself to a lesser extent are always available and adept at helping faculty to connect their expertise with the hardware and software they need, that they need to use to ask and answer important questions. And with that, I'm happy at the end to field any specific questions about our setup at the University of Richmond.
Carol, thank you so much. That's great information. And our next panelist is Jackie Huben from University of Virginia.
Okay, we have at University of Virginia for in terms of HPC, Urbana, which is our standard security cluster. Right now we have approximately 575 nodes and over 20,000 CPU cores, but some of those cores are part of a condo model, and not everyone has access to them. But I would say over 17,000 cores are available to the general population. Also included in that is some specialty hardware like GPUs and large MEM nodes. We're also developing an we call it IVHPC. It's HPC in a secure environment. So we want to be able to support the people in our medical school who often get data from the hospital and do analysis on that data. But because of HIPAA requirements, they need a more secure environment. So we currently have a secure environment for VMs, but we are working on an HPC secure environment. We also have various storage options. Like most people, we have the Scratch and the home directory, but we also offer different levels of storage for purchase, for lease, so that people can store things long term. And we have that both for secure computing and for just the moderately secure computing. We also have invested in Globus, which is a file transfer service. We have found, especially for the secure environment, that is the only way to go to allow people to upload data or even download data from the secure environment. But we're also finding it makes life a lot easier on just our regular HPC cluster. In terms of our computing teams, right now we're divided into 4 sections. We have user services. We are the ones who assist the researchers in getting their code onto Ravana, basically off of their laptops. We help them to optimize their code, parallelize their code, set up pipelines, whatever service, whatever help they need in getting their code to run on Ravana, we're there to help them with. We also have the infrastructure team that maintains the hardware, and they develop hardware solutions. So we do have some researchers come to us who say, I have this special need, this special hardware system that I need, and our infrastructure people will look into how can we set that up for them. Then we have our DevOps team who works on interfacing in any type of interface. So we have different types of portals and dashboards that we use to access all of our systems. The DevOps team is there to develop those. And then last but not least is our admin team, which now we're up to 3 people on our admin team. And I like to say these are the people who keep everyone on their toes. They're the ones who manage the budget and do great things like reserve the rooms for us at Supercomputing. And they kind of make sure we're following everything we need to do. I included a little bar chart that shows we've actually got a good distribution of females to males. It's pretty much 50-50 except for DevOps. And I think we're going to be working on that in the future, getting a better balance there. As far as ways that we help people, we do have a ticketing system. Once a week, we have intro to Ravana sessions because Ravana being a Linux cluster, people tend to need more help getting started, especially if they've been working on just PCs or just Macs, moving on to a Linux system. We also offer workshops and short courses. So a workshop would be like a 2-hour session where we would go over things like image processing or RStudio or typical applications like bioinformatics or machine learning. We also have short courses, which tend to be longer, like a sequence of several days, where we feel that a topic can't be covered completely in 2 hours. So we will offer several sessions across a few days in order to give them a more in-depth view of the computing. And then finally, we do consultations for research projects. And these, we have different levels of consultations where we can just be helping them to get onto our HP system. But we have people who have expertise in certain domains. So we can also sit down with researchers and talk to them about what are some of the software packages, software applications that are available. How do you run those? How do you look at the data? So we actually can go a little more in depth in those. And for some consultations, we do have a contract with the user where we say we will provide this service for you, and as a result, you will pay for the consultant's time. So we do have that available. And finally, we are hiring. So if anything that I've mentioned here sounds very interesting to you, you might want to look at the job application or job posting that we have available. And I will put the link for our open position in the Google Docs so it's available for everyone.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for all that. Our next panelist is Mike.
Mike was muted. Okay. Hopefully this is going to come up, and hopefully I can be seen because I'm running a different light today. I think you need to click, Gladys. There we go. So VCU High Performance Research Computing was founded in 2006. It came about as a result of a number of people ranging from the VP of Research to the Vice Provost of Life Sciences, the Provost, the CIO, and myself, a series of meetings when there was a budget call. We were able to get initial funding, and we've been playing in the space or working in the space ever since then. We have 5 full-time staff, technical director, that's me, 3 systems analysts, 1 applications analyst. All told, we have decades of experience in supporting researchers. I've been doing it at VCU since I've been back at VCU in 1997. One of my staff came on board with me in 98, another in 2002, and the fourth in 2005, and the 5th just this month, as a matter of fact. A lot of what we focused on is building the infrastructure out to be able to specifically support HPC. And part of the reason for that is that most of the time, enterprise data centers are not designed to deal with the levels of heat and the density of HPC machines. So for example, whereas a typical data center, if you look at the numbers, you'll see that a 2x2 floor tile can flow enough air, 50% perf tile can flow enough air to cool about 2,800 watts. To give you an example, the least of my machines is at 17,000 watts right now. So 17 kilowatts. We built the facility originally with a 27 kilowatt per rack power design. So what else do we have? Well, we've got 3.2 petabytes of high performance storage that is available to everyone at VCU. We don't run a quota system. However, we do expect you to be reasonable in your usage. And for the most part, people are. 10,000 compute cores. Those are spread across currently 4 different clusters. We're working on winding that down to 3, which will put us back to where we want to be. Facility-wise, we've got redundant power, cooling, networking. Right now, we provide HPC support and a significant, well, truthfully, we're the only people really supporting research computing right now for a lot of the university. And but HPC support for all colleges and schools. So School of Medicine, College of Humanities and Sciences, College of Engineering, School of Social Work, School of the Arts. It's life sciences. It is a lot of people, and pretty much we have most of the individual departments. Someone is running some kind of job at some point. And finally, the reason we exist isn't to build machines or build computer rooms or anything like that. It's to help people and to support the research mission of the institution. And how well we do that determines how well, to a certain degree, the institution grows. You know, realistically, there are 3 funding mechanisms that institutions have. They have, if they're a state institution, state and federal money. They have research, and they have giving. VCU, even though we've been around for quite a while and we are doing much better on the giving front, it's nothing compared to Virginia Tech or University of Virginia. I guess the final thing is that, and I'm not sure where we stand right now, Jay Cherie may know, either VCU or George Mason will in any given year have the largest number of FTE students in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And one of the reasons I want to be here is to find out how we can actually attract more women to high performance computing, because I think that's an issue that needs to be dealt with. That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Mike. And our next panelist is Matthew Brown.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Brown. I'm a computational scientist with advanced research computing at Virginia Tech. So I'll refer to us as ARC. I have a background in mathematics, and I've been with ARC since, well, actually I started as on a research assistantship in around 2015, but I've been full-time with ARC since 2018. We are Virginia Tech's central resource for research computing and data services. We are really solidly under the division of IT, but we do have a dotted line reporting with the Vice President for Research, their office. We have a pretty large user base and a pretty good set of resources. We don't do a great job keeping track at the research output associated with usage of our systems, but the system that we do have, people have voluntarily entered something more than 170 publications annually for the last several years, and they have entered in information on projects with more than $139 million in grant funding that they say they are currently making use of ARC systems. So that's just what we know about. Current active compute allocations on our systems, we have over 400 of those and more than 2,000 active users. And what these people are using is our clusters, which we have a total of over 700 compute nodes. If you see on the right, the stuff that's really too small to make any sense out of, that's a diagram that I've created that has sort of an outline of all the different nodes in our clusters. So 700 compute nodes, 55,000 cores, and around 320 GPUs will be available, at least when our 10 new systems come online. We've got 10 NVIDIA DGX boxes. Those are dense GPU boxes from NVIDIA that are going to come online sometime soon, as soon as the supply chain opens up and gives us the networking equipment we need. So we have a pretty great set of resources. They're highly used. The pictures in the middle, you can see we also have a visionarium. We have Nicholas Paulus is our director of visualization, and we have, he's got a team of people and some really cool resources where they can do some immersive visualization. Overall, our team, we've got a group of computational scientists that are really the consultants, the researcher-facing wing of Virginia Tech's research computing. And we also have internally to ARC, at least since 1 or 2 years ago, systems engineering came on board. They were formerly separate from ARC, but that was difficult for us to work with. And we had an opportunity to bring a team on board. So now we've got that internal. We also have a help desk support team that's mostly composed of graduate students that are on research assistantships through ARC. And we do everything that we can to help people make the best use of ARC systems. We're here to support the research mission of the university, but we also see a lot of courses, maybe a lot's the wrong word. We see regular courses come through and use ARC systems, especially like we have a computational modeling and data analytics program where every semester they've got a couple hundred students that are using ARC systems, which is a really great way to get broad exposure to the high performance computing world for undergraduates. So also like somebody else has already said, we're hiring. We've got at our website, arc.et.edu/jobs, a few positions that are open right now. So if that sounds interesting or you know people who might be interested, I would love to have applications. I would say ARC has not done well with our full-time staff with having much diversity. I'm hoping that I'm on the hiring committee for 2 of the postings, so I'm hoping we're going to be able to do better with that in the long run. We have had pretty good success with our user base. We've got a broad and diverse set of researchers at Virginia Tech, and we see lots of use from women and minorities and the graduate students as well. And our help desk team has done a pretty good job of being balanced between male and female, and we have lots of international students on that crew as well. So that's Virginia Tech's ARC. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And our last panelist is Eric Walter.
I think you need to advance. All right, well, good afternoon. I'm happy to talk to everyone here about research computing and high performance computing at William & Mary and VIMS. First, I just want to give a little bit of history as others have done. High performance computing at William & Mary formally started in like 1999 with 2 staff members. And it grew sort of organically for a while and then got to the point where it actually stopped being its own separate, group and joined, the central IT information technology group for the university in 2007. We administer 2 clusters. There's one research computing cluster on campus referred to as Cyclone, and there's also a VIMS campus cluster named Chesapeake, and we administer both of those. Excluding VIMS tends to take care of their own hardware, and we help with the other aspects of that. Now, right before the pandemic, we transitioned from just focusing on high performance computing to research computing. And that was a fantastic time to do it because that slowed everything down and has made it sort of a hole to dig out of because of making all these changes when no one's really around. Also, we lost a few staff members during that period. So, but currently we have 5 staff members and they're all male. We've had a lot of challenges trying to have diversity in our own group. Our central IT does a much better job with diversity. We have, like I said, 5 members. We have a sysadmin, a network file and data specialist, a full-time staff member for user software support, a new position that we just filled, which is research computing support, which is basically support of all things outside of our high performance computing server rooms. For instance, like lab and office computers running computational software. And I'm the director of the group. And so, as I mentioned, we were sort of going through and finishing up this transition. And so we've gone from just focusing on HPC activities to things like research computing storage for cold storage of research projects, for archiving, office and lab computer support, especially with Linux and computational packages, grant support, and a couple of other smaller things. And just give you an idea of the user base we have. We have about 50 active users, and I'm calling active meaning that they've done something at least about 1,000 CPU hours in the last year. But we have a number of smaller users, about 50 to 100 at any given time period. The combination of the two clusters has about 10,000 cores, and one challenge is that that's spread over 10 clusters. And so we have a couple of clusters with a couple hundred cores, and then we have some much larger clusters. And that's sort of something we're trying to address right now to make it more homogeneous. And we have about a petabyte and a half of storage, and about a third of that is actually backed up to tape and meant for archiving of data. Now that's for like that's mainly the general purpose, but also physics and data science have some private resources which aren't available to everyone. But that's on the order of 1,000 cores. The majority of it is open to any user. As far as support, we do have lots of documentation on the website, but we're in the process of reorganizing. We just went through and talked to a number of arts and sciences, especially faculty and research groups. And one piece of feedback we got is that we need more help with basic training and Linux support and just more of the introductory materials. And so we're trying to spend some time this summer to focus on improving that part of our group. We have an active ticket system, excluding, I went through and took out all the tickets that were just, can I get my account renewed and things like that. And substantial tickets, we have about 450 of those in 2021. And our most popular way to sort of help out new inexperienced users is just to meet with them and have like a one-on-one, either with a group of people or just with a one-on-one, and get them quickly up to speed. We find that this makes it much faster. And I'm intrigued by the groups that have regular meetings. I think that that's probably something we'll switch over to soon. And lastly, I also want to mention the chart, the usage by the domain. This pie chart on the right here, we have we're basically a third physics, data science, and VIMS, and with the rest of the 10% being other groups like chemistry and applied science and economics and all the usual suspects. That varies over time, but that's typically what the pattern has been long term. And as I mentioned, some of the things we're trying to do in the immediate future is trying to acquire more homogeneous resources so people can run wider, more parallel simulations. We're trying to push the more use of containers and more DevOps style resources, especially for our growing data science department. And we're trying to also increase all the time our computational support outside of our server room and fulfilling our research computing thrust. And we hope, as I mentioned, to have more, training offerings this summer, at least getting that started this summer and trying to make that a priority. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. And I just want to say thank you to all the panelists for all the information that you had shared with all of us. Now we're going to switch to taking some questions from the audience. I want to give the opportunity to anyone that would like to, that has any questions. I think that my Zoom meeting just glitched for a moment. Okay, we have some questions here. So the first question that we have, I think that is a comment for Carol. Carol, you mentioned asynchronous training. What do you do for that?
Yeah, so in most cases, we video a presentation and we make that available for others to watch at their own time. In addition, we've started the process of writing protocols for different levels of learning related to different software packages, and making all of those available on the website. And of course, as I'm sure many of, or maybe all of you are doing, we're also linking to, there's a significant amount of good information on the internet, right? And so we're in the process of going through that filtering through and linking to those that we find are particularly helpful, especially someone mentioned software carpentry sorts of things.
Thank you, Carol. And I have some questions here. We will wait and get people in the audience a little bit more of time to think about what they like to ask. But the first question that I have for you, all of you, anyone who wants to answer, the panelists, what are the top 3 disciplines that you use your resources for?
So I'll go ahead and answer that first. At UVA, we have mostly a lot of engineering. Well, we first of all serve all disciplines, but the majority come from engineering. We do have a lot from physics, chemistry, biology. We have a lot from our medical school. So I think those are the 3 pockets. We are starting to get more and more from our School of Data Science, but the 3 primary ones are engineering, the sciences in the college, and School of Medicine.
At VCU, I would break it down into 4, and that would be, and I'm going to use uncommon things. Physical sciences, which would include chemistry and physics and chemical physics, etc. Life sciences, which isn't just our formal life sciences, but includes proteomics, genomics, and microbiomics, along with other fields like neuro, etc. And engineering, which is going to essentially be computer science, chemical and life sciences, engineering, and mechanical engineering, and mechanical nuclear, mostly in dealing with CFD. And then finally, there's a wide variety that comes from School of Medicine, and it actually crosses a number of those boundaries. So those would be the top 4.
Anyone else from the panel would like to answer that?
Well, I had a slide or the pie chart up, which it's like very roughly a third physics, data science, and VIMS. And like I said, that fluctuates around, maybe from 6 months to 6 month periods. But those 3 really are the largest and the most, the people that get the most, request the most support as well.
At George Mason, I would say it's mostly the climate group and the physics and astronomy group, followed by the engineering school. The electrical and computer engineering, computer science, and bioengineering are the largest users of our cluster, CPU-wise.
Virginia Tech, I had 3 different measures of like what are the biggest usage. One was like the number of allocations. So aerospace and ocean engineering, computer science, and physics have the most allocations, so the largest number of compute reservations on the systems. As far as like CPU core hour usage, again, aerospace and ocean engineering is the number 1, but then mechanical engineering and chemical engineering are number 2. And then the third metric, which I thought was interesting because it gave a different angle, was GPU hours on the system. You see that biochemistry, chemical engineering, and computer science are the biggest users in those 3 areas, or in the GPU usage. And we also see lots of growth in all of the nomics fields, especially from like forest and natural resources and fish and wildlife. They're starting to see lots of growth in those areas.
At the University of Richmond, we don't have an engineering program nor a medical school, and we are undergraduate. So ours really is distributed across. We do have a small business school, and we have a number of faculty in economics and data analytics who are quite active. We also use our cluster for both research and teaching, as long as the teaching is sort of Linux based, so R or Python. And so during the academic year, we see we don't have graduate students who work full time all year round, but our undergraduates do work full-time in the summer. And so we see our heaviest use during the summer. And then I would say it's distributed between math and computer science, economics, chemistry, physics, and biology. And we're expecting that to change because we have a large contingent of faculty who are using GIS, but right now many of them are sort of came up on the Esri software, which runs only on Windows. And so if those, they're bound by their resources when they're using Esri on Windows. And so if there is an interest among those faculty, and there seems to be an interest in migrating over to Linux and maybe open source GIS software, we'll see a big uptick there. And we're sort of preparing for that.
Thank you, everyone. It sounds like we have all the 6 institutions provide a wide variety of, we cover a variety of disciplines in general. I have 2 questions right now from the audience. One is from Caitlin. And the question is, can the panelists share their strategy for burst capacity or running HPC workloads in the clouds? Maybe share some of the challenges they have faced. Who would like to go first?
I can start by just saying that this is a area for future growth. As far as HPC in the cloud, this is sort of a new thing for our group, and we are still experimenting with various ways of doing such a thing.
We've been looking at HPC before, offsite before the cloud. Back in the 90s, Sun had a solution called their grid, but invariably the problem that we've seen is that financially it's not sustainable for a state institution like VCU to move its processing into the cloud. To do what we do locally, as of last year, would cost $7 million per year in the cloud. And that's multiples more budget than what we have. It does make sense for burst, and we have had some people do that through like NSF and NIH funding. But what they did was they literally split their jobs between what they had money for in the cloud and what they didn't have money for, which ran locally.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else would like to mention anything? Go ahead, Jack.
One of the things, we've had problems in the past where it's crunch time and everyone's trying to use the system and the system slows down. One of the things we've been able to do is look at how the system is used, because we partition the nodes. And if we see that people are doing more parallel programming, we might transition some of the nodes from the serial high throughput over to the parallel partition, so that we're able to address the usage in that area. Another thing we've been able to do is talk with some of our condo users to see if they're willing to share some of their nodes. And in the past, we have been able to get them to generously loan some of their condo nodes out. Right now, we are very fortunate that we have enough nodes that we are not experiencing any bursts where people are saying, well, this is too slow. And I think if we should reach that point in the future, we might consider cloud computing. I know we have been looking into cloud computing, but we haven't actually done that.
Thank you, Jackie. I have one more question from, it's actually, this one is from Eric, but at the same time, while they are answering these questions, we have a short poll for the audience. And this is just basically basic questions about different disciplines and things that you're looking with HPC. So I'm going to launch the poll and let everyone to start answering. And then I will share the next question, which is related to training. Please let me know if you can all see the poll. Should be showing in your screens. And so the question that we have is, this is especially for those groups that are already doing weekly training sessions. The question is, how populated are these sessions? It is the same presentation each time, or it is an audience specific?
Gladys, I'm not able to put my input in there.
Yeah, I can't put mine either. I'm just seeing the results when you.
Okay, I think that the issue is because you are all co-hosts.
Okay.
I think that might be the reason why. So we let the audience to do that. But coming back to the questions about the training sessions, I think that I can answer that, at least for UVA, Eric. So we call a session that we call Rivanna intro session. This is one that is just talk about general things about cluster. And we do it every week. We have a setup appointment. Users can go to our website. They need to sign in. We do it by appointment, but it's basically a fixed time every Wednesday, 3 p.m. And we have a presentation, it's basically a boilerplate of what we have that we offer. And we have found that this has become very effective, right? And we usually, when we notice tickets that comes with people that might have questions that seems very basic, we usually recommend that they should go and fill out or request an appointment to get a Rivanna intro. And we find it really effective. Plus we hold office hours, and we do it for 2 hours on Tuesdays and then on Thursday. And we found that during the pandemic, it was really effective because it's easy for a student or a faculty just to jump into a Zoom meeting. They don't have to leave their office, right? They can do it from whenever and just hop in into, ask a question. And we find that has been really highly effective for us to maintain that one-on-one interaction. And we have break rooms. So if we had to, be in a certain topic and we have more people coming during the session, we can actually do that split.
I would second what Gladys just said, Eric. By having mandatory tutorial, making user attend a tutorial and learn how to submit a job on the cluster has reduced the number of tickets. At least they learn how to use Slurm and how to load modules. But in general, maybe we'll have 1 or 2 people, sometimes more than that, depending on number of users created the week before. But it's a great way to make sure that the user understands that HPC is very different from their laptop.
Thank you, everyone.
So I see the survey, the poll coming through. I think there is only few people, only 10% of everyone that is here is participating in the poll. I will ask you, don't be shy. This is just information for us to be able to know how we can narrow our next, in a way to get a feeling of where we are heading and how, in terms of HPC, how things are really looking among the community. And I'm getting right now questions that the poll never came up. Okay, and the poll disappeared.
Yeah, that's the most common one. Poll vanished when I was working on it. Poll came up, disappeared. So maybe it went too fast.
Yeah, I think that you can, the poll is still there because I haven't stopped the poll yet. So
if they click on polls and quizzes, it will show back up again. It should be in their toolbar.
Exactly, yes. And so, this information is just for us to gather, to get a sense of where we are. And I really want to, we are almost at the top of the hour. I really want to thanks our panelists for being here and talking about, getting everyone an overview of where we are in terms of HPC. The things that comes that are really clear, we still had a lot of work to do when it comes to diversity and how we can make our teams a lot more diverse. I also can see that there are opportunities where, as institutions, and being part of the Virginia Women in HPC, there are opportunities to collaborate when it comes to workshops, things that can maybe very basic and very generic that, they can be shared across multiple disciplines. And so We want to close this session with a few questions for everyone, and I will give that a space to Eric so that he can wrap us off. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for making the time to be present. Just want to make you aware, we're going to have our next event is coming August 10th of 22. We don't want to go through the summer without, no events at all. So stay tuned. Please, if you're not part of our mailing list, make sure that you are. And we have just launched our new Virginia Woman and HPC website. It's still under works. So if there is any students in the audience that would like to participate and would like to, help us with our website, you are welcome. And if you have other institutions that might not be yet part of the Virginia Woman and HPC, you are invited and welcome to join us. Eric?
Yeah, I just wanted to close out. We are over time, and I just wanted to very quickly just state that, moving ahead, especially perhaps the next event and events moving forward, we're really going to try to focus on, asking the questions and like how we could improve the diversity in HPC and the related academic fields. At William & Mary, I'd mentioned how we're an all-male group and we've had trouble. We just see very few actual women in minority applications. And so we want to make that as a part of this group moving forward. And some of the things that maybe we can think about in the future are, student computing groups like a Linux user group, outreach to women and minorities in high school or the undergraduate level, as we're doing here, better advertisement of opportunities. And, we would hope that others would bring other ideas to the table. And with that, I think we're 2 minutes over and I will leave it at that. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Gladys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists for all
Thank you.
attended this meeting. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.